welcome, welcome.
Welcome here on a Monday. We are excited to bring this topic because it's one that is kind of close to our hearts, that we firmly believe in, that it can change. Let me not just say that, but it can bring great change to a blended family. Whenever these concepts sink into us and how we use it in our family, it just really, you can see so many beautiful things that can come from it. But we're talking today on the 5 love languages, but we're kind of talking a little bit more and what we can do with them. So we're going to kind of give it a little overview of it, and then we're going to dive into how can we apply that and what can that look like in a blended family.
All right, guys. Yes, today we are talking about the 5 love languages.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. I felt like I had to keep going.
But 5.
5
love languages. And we stumbled upon the 5 love languages early on in our marriage from a counselor, correct? Yeah. From the counselor had recommended us doing the 5 love language quiz and finding out our love languages because we were struggling. We were like having problems right in the beginning, but we were seeing the blended family issues starting to rise, and so we started getting counseling early on to try to get some help for those things, and that was one of the recommendations that really made a big impact.
It did, and kind of what led us was our kids as well. Our kids were kind of going through some blended family stuff, and so helping them work through their issues, it kind of pulled us in along with it, and this got presented to us, and we're like, the 5 what? Like, what are you talking about? And there's a quiz? What? Like, I gotta go back to school? What?
I love quizzes. Like, if you're a girl, especially if you were a teenage girl that grew up with, like, the magazine era, and you would take the quizzes to find out, like, what celebrity you are most like or should marry or will marry one day. So, I like quizzes.
But quizzes, this quiz is actually very simple, very easy. It's very quick. So, it's free, which is an extra bonus, but you can go online, type in 5 love languages quiz, and you can go take it. And the powerful thing in it is it kind of shows you how you receive love and how you give love. So there are 2 different things there on love, and it all breaks down to 5 love languages. So what are the 5 love languages?
Okay.
Because this is where we were at. We're like, wait, what are the 5 love languages?
What are they? So it's acts of service.
Acts of service.
Quality time.
Quality time.
Words of affirmation or encouragement.
I was going to repeat, but I thought you were getting tired of that.
I was. Physical touch. And which is not just sexual physical touch, but physical touch like
hugging, shaking hands, doing the floss.
What?
I don't know.
We can break them down more in a second. Let's do
because that's not even
It's not physical touch at all. That was very weird that's what popped up in your head.
Sorry, guys.
And then the last one is gift giving.
Gift giving. There it is. Those are the 5 love languages. Now, the cool thing, though, is we are a mix of all of them, but we normally fall heavy on one main one. And sometimes it can be 2 main ones. Like you have one and then you got one that's just a little under it. And then some are just really low on our scale. But the powerful thing that comes from it is when you know each other's love languages, now you can speak on their love level. So we'll get to that, but let's break down the 5 love languages first. So taking the first one, acts of service. What is acts of service?
So acts of service, if you speak, did you just mention, because I got a little bit sidetracked, I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out, because we've had an episode where we talked on love languages because it was an adventure challenge that we did and planning a date that spoke on love languages and the love language app, the love nudge and all that.
Which was a beautiful segue into, if you want to know about the Love Nudge app and kind of fun ways you can use it, that episode came out a few weeks before. So go listen to that one too.
I was trying to figure out which one it was, so then I got a little bit sidetracked. We each speak a love language and we receive love in a different language. And so like acts of service, if you're one who speaks that love language, maybe you enjoy doing things for those that you love, and that's your way of telling them you love them. Or if the person that you are trying to show love to receives love by acts of service, then they find an extra joy and appreciation when you go above and beyond and you do those tasks and those things for them. Something like, as far as putting gas in the car for your wife, if her love language is acts of service and you go and do that.
Yeah, or funny story.
I knew I shouldn't have used that one.
Or one goes to jump in the truck and the other says, hey, you're taking the truck? I hope you make it to the gas station. Oh, okay. So,
but
yeah, that's
your love
fun.
language is
That's
an acts
fun.
of service, so it's okay. It's okay.
Words of affirmation or words of encouragement. I was not encouraged. I mean,
You don't even know how these things work. So sorry about that.
that's acts of service. So that's that one.
That if there's an act of service, it's doing these things to you might feel like a chore, but to them, it tells them, like, I love you enough that I go and do these tasks for you so you don't have to.
Yes.
So that's one. Then if your love language is quality time, I mean, that one pretty much it speaks for itself, but they need you. They need time with you. It's not just quantity time. They didn't call it that. They call it quality time because it's not just being present in the same room. And this is something that when we started working together, working from home, that we had to discuss because I was like, we need a date night. And he's like, we're together every day. Like,
We're together all the time.
all the time. And I'm like, I know, but we're doing work stuff all the time. Like, we need something to break us free from this norm and actually have conversations about things that are outside of work. Our kids all speak quality time as their love language, and they will tell you, like, I need time with you, like, or I just feel like I haven't seen you around lately, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. So quality time, that is a big one. And so it can be on the giving end and it can be on the receiving end. So one of us might be heavy on quality time, that we're always wanting to be around or want to conversate or have that quality time with our friends or our family. Yeah. And then some that receive it, they need that from you. They want to receive that. So it speaks both ways. So, okay, so that's one, that's two. The next one.
Words of encouragement / words of affirmation.
Yes.
And so this is speaking to whom they are as a person and lifting them up and letting them know. And you can do this in so many different ways. So if you're trying to meet that love language for them with your spouse or for your kids, you may be leaving a sticky note saying, like, hey, I'm so proud of you. Our youngest just got a job, so leaving a sticky note, I'm so proud of you getting your first job. Like, that's awesome. Or you're beautiful, or anything, just something that, like, sparks up that feelings of the inside of that insecurities maybe that they have in themselves. A lot of time people that words of affirmation is their love language. They also, the opposite of that, can really tear them down. So if you say anything negative or anybody says anything negative about them, they're always self-conscious about that, thinking about it. And you could also do this like in forms of posting, the people that love, it's their birthday and they want you to go on social media and, give them that birthday shout out. That's because their love language is words of affirmation, and they like to hear those things. Or in a card, a Christmas card or Valentine's card, birthday card or whatever, when you're writing in like a special note on there, not just giving them a card, but putting some of your thoughts and feelings towards them inside of that card, like, makes them feel more loved and accepted.
Yeah, and that's a powerful one as well, that you're not just surface level, that most of the time the people that are more natural with this, they just make you feel good. Those are the people that when you're around them, they uplift you. They make you feel great. And that's their way of giving words of affirmation. That's who they are. That's their love language. And then receiving the opposite. And the powerful thing with that is most of the time people that are high on words of encouragement.
You paused on high.
The ones that are high, they love everybody. The ones that are high on words of affirmation, normally they're really hard on themselves. So they're picking their own selves apart. And so that's why they need that to feel like they're okay, like they're noticed or like they're doing a good job. So that's a very powerful one too. So we've talked about three of them. The fourth one.
We talked about three of them. So we said
we
said acts of service, quality time,
and words of affirmation,
and then physical touch.
Physical touch.
Which most of the
Can't
time...
touch this. Can't touch this. Anybody else?
I didn't realize how
Did anybody else see the parachute pants when I did that? Like the parachute pants just going back and forth.
Yes.
MC Hammer doing that.
Exactly what I saw.
Can't touch this. Okay.
So physical touch most of the time is high on your husband's or a guy's love language. It just seems that that's pretty normal and natural, but it's not, doesn't have to be sexually related. Like just even putting, your hand on their shoulder or holding hands.
Sitting next to you.
Yeah, being next to each other. And
yep. Hand on the shoulder. It could be anything like that.
Embracing when you come and go. Like even for our youngest, like her love language is physical touch. And she just loves hugs. From the time that she was a little girl and Randall came into her life, like she would want to climb up and, be all up in your business kind of thing. Like she just wants to be near someone else. And now she's so grown and tall, and it's like giving her those hugs still, because I went from a period of time where I thought she really didn't care about that anymore, because now she was growing and maturing, and she began to like verbalize like, I need a hug, like I want a hug, I miss the hugs. And so just making sure that you are feeling that need. It's not a sexual thing, it is just people contact. I think we learned it through the last couple of years how we've had to not hug, that we've seen like how much we need that as people to embrace in that way. It could be physical touch. A way to show love language there is giving a foot massage or a shoulder rub. Those things all make a big difference too.
Yep, for sure. So that's a powerful one as well. And so that's 4 out of the 5. What is the 5th one, the last one?
The 5th one is gift giving.
Gift giving.
And gift giving.
Would you like a present, sir?
Gift giving is not just the act they want you to spend money on them. It's not money related.
You will spend money on me.
It is the time and effort that someone puts into in a thought. It truly is the thought that counts. They don't want you just to go buy a gift card and say, here you go, happy birthday.
Go buy something.
If their love language is gift giving, they like to have there's some sort of meaning behind it, or that you took the time to go pick out this thing specifically or create this thing for them specifically and give it to them.
Kind of like you just received a book not long ago from a really good friend who really spent...
Oh, yes. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I thought you were going to...
best gift ever.
It was the best gift ever. I thought you were trying to give yourself kudos for the jar.
Oh, for me? No.
That we talked about on the other episode. So I was like, what? Yeah, so my friend, which her love language is gift giving. And, she loves to receive gifts, like is her love language, and to give gifts. She went and got my favorite author of all times, Karen Kingsbury, and she wrote into her, because Karen was doing this some sort of it
was like a contest or something, because she likes to include her listeners or her readers along with her stories or in books and things of that. So she was doing it to where she would only allow so many people a spot to where they could have their name printed in a book. So in this one book that came out, because it was more about that special someone in your life.
That's made a difference or an impact.
That made a difference or impact. And so in the very back has a list of a few hundred names. So out of all the thousands and thousands of people who submitted, she could only hand select a few.
And my bestie went and got my name submitted into my favorite author's latest book. And so she presented that to me a couple weeks ago, and it was just tears. It meant so much to me, because it's one thing, for her to bought me the book, I would have been happy. But for my name to be published in her book, That's just took some time, effort, and thought on her part. So taking those things and figuring out, like, how can I show the person that I love them through this gift?
Hey, we'll be back momentarily. Check out this announcement.
Are you tired of focusing only on the negative in your blended family and just want to be able to enjoy it? Randall and Scarlett here, and that's where I found myself years ago, and we began to search and seek out solutions for our family so that we could experience that enjoyment that we hope so much we envisioned when we married each other. So after years of searching and looking for things and becoming very intentional on helping our blended family, we found 5 steps that we began to follow to help our blended family. And we put those things together in this Mom's Quick Guide to Blending Her Stepfamily. These are going to be 5 steps to blending success.
Yeah, and we realize that once we start doing things, once we start getting intentional and quit just complaining about it, but actually doing things to help us get those results we wanted, that's when we really start seeing a change. And there's power in that when you do that. That's why this guide is so powerful, that we walk you through exactly what we've learned. This took us over almost 15 years to learn, to get down to where now we're seeing the success from, we're seeing it, and we want you to have this guide so that you can get there so much quicker. Right now, you can have that guide. This is about a $97 thing, but right now we're giving it to you for $7. That's it, no catch. We also want to sweeten the deal a little bit, so we're throwing in 5 additional bonuses, resources that can just add to this. Our heart is we really want you to have these tools and tips and tricks to really see success in your family. Not saying that is bad right now, but man, whenever you start doing these things, there becomes so much power in your family, and you see so many more blessings from it. So get your copy today, only $7 right now. This is about a $374 value, $7 right now. So get it today while we still have this offer going. The link will be below in the show notes. Now back to this episode. Yeah, and that can be a very powerful thing as well. And I know I say that about, they're all powerful. And I say that a lot because we love
so much power.
So much power. I have the power. But these 5 love languages. So you got the quality time. You got the acts of service. You got the words of affirmation. You've got the physical touch, and then you got the gift giving. Everything, the way that we give and receive love, has been broken down to these 5 things. And it's powerful when you think about it, because everything we do, they do fit this category. And that's why the book, whenever Gary Chapman, whenever he came out with it, it was just such a revolution. And you see it in churches, you see it all over the place. And he's actually, I listened to him one time, and he works at a church, not because he has to, just because that's his passion. And so, this is just a side thing that he does that was just powerful. So, it's such a powerful concept. 5 love languages that anything we do can be broken into any one of these 5. But then you add the quiz on top of it. So this free quiz, when you go and take it, it tells you personally, after you answer these random questions they're not random in a sense, but they are to you. But then it breaks out, okay, what's your top love language? Where do you rank with all these love languages? And it's very powerful once you know how you give love, how you receive love in each one of these. Because then once you know that, you can explain to your partner, or hopefully you and your spouse or you and your kids are doing this, especially as a blended family. When you're coming together, you're trying to figure each other out and how to work well together. And a lot of the problems and complications that we see in blended families is because we're not meeting each other's love languages. We're trying to speak out of ours. So whenever you're now, instead of just trying to speak out of yours, you're speaking to theirs. That does a total dynamic shift. So when if I'm trying to speak to them in my love language, if my love language is acts of or gift giving, and that's what I do really well, but they rank so low on gift giving, like it doesn't really matter to them, gifts aren't really their thing, then whenever I'm giving, I'm going and I'm putting in all this time, and I'm sitting here, and then I come to present it. And I'm like, I did this for you. Here it is. And they're like, thanks. and then they set it down and walk off. Now you feel defeated, you feel deflated, or you can take it the other way. Now I get angry. I did all that for you. And can you see where all this goes? We see this so much into our blended families that we didn't take the time to really talk their language. And instead, we're still trying to talk ours.
Well, and I love the reason it's called like love languages is that it's kind of like just regular languages, right? When you are speaking to somebody that doesn't speak your language, you're basically just like looking at each other and you have no idea, right? There's such a disconnect. They could be telling you the most important news ever, but you have zero idea what's coming out. Like maybe you can pick a few things here and there, but you just don't know what they're saying. There's a disconnect, and that's how it is when we're not speaking the love language of the person we're trying to show that love to. And then when it's, we're doing these things and it's disconnecting, we can get frustrated, like Randall's saying, and complain about things like he never spends quality time with me, or you never show me you love me, could be like something. And he's like, I just bought you a dozen roses last week, or I just did it, and I just gave you, I work and give you like whatever money you want to go buy whatever you want. You can go buy what you want. And then they're like, but I want you to take the time. I want you to go out and pick it out because that shows me that you care. Or say you are always buying them lavish gifts, but they're not speaking that language. They're like, I just want more of you, more quality time with you. Then it can be frustrating on both parts, like Randall's saying.
So whenever you start speaking their language, you get so much better reception. So now it's kind of like, I love looking at the Bible and biblical, taking that concept out of there, but whenever it talks about us submitting to our wives and our wives submitting to husbands, and how it's just like this, you're laying down your life for your spouse, you're laying down your life for your family, but now you're being intentional. You do that by meeting them where they're at, not trying to speak your language and make them understand you, but you're speaking to where they can understand. And so you're taking that time to dive in and say, what is my wife's love language? How can I meet her there? What are my kids' love languages? How can I show them I love them in their love language? It will start shifting the dynamics in your family. You'll see so many blessings come from that whenever we shift that mentality, and it's no longer about us, but it's about them. How can I serve them better? How can I speak to them better? How can I show them with, whether it's acts of service or, any one of these, how can I meet them where they're at? It will change those dynamics. And then here, I think it was last year, there's another book out specifically for blended families where Gary Chapman and Ron Deal came, and they kind of co-wrote this book together using 5 love languages in a blended family. And that's a very powerful book as well. If you read, that would be one to go check out. If you are one that would rather listen, then go get the audio of it and listen to the book. But that's a powerful one within itself, that to where it does talk on that and how powerful it is in a blended family situation. And then it kind of gives a warning, and I want to bring this up because this one stood out to me when I read the book, but that a lot of times it's good to do it with our kids, to know their love languages, but you have to be careful with that if you're trying to do it with, say, your teenagers, because teenagers, especially in a blended family, they're already pushing back, and they can actually use that as a manipulation tool as well if you kind of present it in a certain situation like, hey, let's know each other's love languages, so you do have to be cautious of that. So I thought that was a good fair warning.
But don't let that shy you away from trying to figure it out. And it may be that you...
Well, no, and that's where I was going with that, is that maybe it's not a, hey, come take this quiz, but it's paying attention to what they're doing or how they're receiving or how they act, how they speak. Maybe you ask some leading questions that can help uncover what their love language is.
Yeah, I was going to say, even just say it's a special occasion or something, and trying to hit all 5 of those love languages in one, and then asking them like, what was your favorite part of today? And then see what they say. And typically that thing that made them feel the most loved is going to be the part that stuck out to them. So it could be the gift. Say, you bought them a gift, you planned a night out together as a family. Maybe during the day you did something a little special where you were just spending on some one-on-one time. You wrote them some kind words down on a card or something. Like, so hit a little bit of all of it and then ask them afterwards. Like, so what did you enjoy about this today? And see which one really stuck out to them.
So being Valentine's Day coming up, or being the month of love in February, or just really taking this throughout the whole year, right? Because we don't just stop on Valentine's Day loving our family. We love our family all year long. So taking this concept and applying it throughout your family and meeting them where they are with birthdays, holidays, day-to-day activities, day-to-day communications, things like that. Valentine's Day, that's a big one coming up, right? That we can try to meet them in their love language. It's what is their love language and how can I meet that? Kind of like what we did on Christmas. We had an episode where we talked about that, but on Christmas, that was our focus for our gift giving, was giving gifts in that person's love language. And it was powerful. It was a beautiful thing doing that. And it really, then it wasn't so much about the money, it was about the time and the effort. And, it was a really, really cool thing that we did. That actually our kids kind of walked out saying, this is one of the best Christmases we've had.
They could really enjoy it.
So it is a great tool, using the 5 love languages.
And if you're having like a hard time bonding with maybe your stepchild, this is one of those things that you can use and try to meet them in that way, to say I love you without it being something that they're not understanding. Like, just figuring out, okay, what's their love language and how can I do little small things for them, speaking that love language to begin to bridge that gap and create that connection.
Yeah, because our stepkids, they already have walls up, and so that helps break those walls down. When you're taking the time to actually meet them and talk their language, they will receive it so much easier with that. So good stuff.
Oh, that's good stuff.
So there's the 5 love languages. I'm glad there wasn't 10, because then this would be like a super long episode. It'd be like, now, number 6, so we don't have that. So that's good. There was 5.
I love the way your brain thinks. So take the quiz. We mentioned to y'all before, but maybe you didn't hear that other episode, is that they have the Love Nudge app where you can take the quiz on there. You could stay connected with your spouse in that way, as far as having you both on the app and seeing like different ways it gives you different ideas. You could just even go on Pinterest and type in 5 love languages, ideas, how to show words of affirmation, quality time. Like, type in those things and it'll give you just a ton of ideas if you can only like think of a few of each one of them.
So this is something that we saw such great results in our blended family, that we were able to really build our relationships and meet each other on different levels. Like I said, there is so much power in it that whenever you do that, you will start seeing the dynamic shift in your household whenever you start speaking their love language. So yeah, and it doesn't come natural. Just disclaimer, it doesn't come natural. Normally we have to be very intentional to make it happen, because we want to speak in our love language. And if it's not being received well, we do have to be intentional on trying to speak that love language and put reminders on your phone, or get some resources, some tools.
Speaking of, it's time for your random hug.
I get a random hug?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
At 1 o'clock, my watch goes off every day telling me to give Randall a random hug.
So that's very nice. And it was good until I found out what it was, and now it's become the joke.
Yet it's still on my watch, goes off every day at 1 o'clock.
So let that be something that you use in your family. If you've heard this before, let it be a refreshing reminder to continue using it and continue being intentional. But go discover the 5 love languages for you and your family. Find out what every person in your family's love language is. What is more predominant, and start speaking that. and you will see so many good things come from that. Powerful stuff.
Yes, and amen.
So 5 love languages, go do it. It's an awesome thing. Use it. It's free. It's there. Powerful thing. So we will see you on the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us today for another episode of Enjoying Your Blended Family. All the links we've talked about today, they're in the show notes below. If you've enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe below. It's free and it lets you know when we have another episode for you to listen to.
And if you want to help us out, leave us a rating and review so that we can keep reaching more people. Until next time, remember to enjoy the moment.